All right, we start with the Fox News alert. There is absolutely zero evidence that President Trump ever colluded with Russia in any way, shape, manner, or form. And now Robert Mueller's merry band of Trump-hating Democratic sycophants are completely and totally desperate to find anything, something on President Trump. Now, late last night, the New York Times released a report allegedly detailing questions that Robert Mueller wants to ask Trump before the investigation concludes. If any of these leaked questions are true, be warned. Mueller is laying a huge perjury trap for the president of the United States, which means two things. One, he has nothing. And two, it proves everything I've been saying about him and Andrew Weissman and company. Two of America's top attorneys are now sounding the alarm. Watch this.
The questions are very inartfully drawn. They are written as open-ended questions. They're not cross-examination questions. They're not sharp questions designed to confront and test. They're really designed to let him ramble and talk. And I suspect that's the strategy of the special counsel, because they know that may be President Trump's weakness. If they were to ask him direct, tough questions to which he can answer yes or no, that might not give them the advantage they're seeking.
The questions are an intrusion into the president's Article 2 powers under the Constitution to fire any executive branch employee. To ask questions, as Mr. Mueller apparently proposes to do, about what the president was thinking when he fired Comey or Flynn or anybody else is an outrageous, sophomoric, juvenile intrusion into the president's unfettered power to fire anyone in the executive branch. It is a symptom of how ridiculous this appointment was by Rod Rosenstein when he made the appointment with no evidence of a crime.
Joe DeGeneva, Alan Dershowitz are exactly right. This is a perjury trap for the president of the United States, and even more frightening are the contents of this inquiry. Now, note all the questions that include the term, what did the president think? What did the president think about James Comey? What does the president think about Jeff Sessions' recusal? What does the president think about the special counsel? Well, I have a question for Robert Mueller tonight. When did thinking or thoughts ever become a crime? When did the United States start regulating what may or may not be in a person's mind? Are we now going to criminalize thoughts? This list of insane, juvenile, ridiculous questions goes on, including one question about a statement to our friend Maria Bartiromo, the president's reaction to news reports and what discussions Trump had about terminating the special counsel. Excuse me, he never terminated him. And again, more questions about the president's thought process. Now, remember, this is originally was supposed to be about Russia collusion, an investigation, not some persecution of the president on ridiculous thought patterns. Rush Limbaugh captured it well today. He said the president should only agree to a Mueller interview if, in fact, President Trump gets the Hillary Clinton treatment. Let's take a look.
If Trump could secure the same identical circumstances that were granted to Hillary Clinton, then why not sit down for the interview and answer the questions? But, of course, I speak facetiously because everybody knows that Donald Trump is not going to get the Hillary Clinton treatment extended by James Comey.
You know, not under oath, not recorded, pretty much meaningless. Send in a pro-Trump person like Peter Strzok interviewed Hillary. You know, that's right. If we have a fair system of justice, President Trump should absolutely get the Hillary treatment for any interview with the FBI. And just like Hillary Clinton's interview, after the exoneration was written months later, well, Trump's interview should be conducted not under oath, not recorded, not be transcribed, and the exoneration written months in advance. And oh, yeah, someone with a pro-Trump bias, let's say me, I'll conduct the questioning. Now, if how about Rush or the great one, Mark Levin? Good idea. Now, if she gets the Clinton treatment, anti-Trump FBI agent Peter Strzok for the interview, maybe, I don't know, we have a good choice of people. Lots of conservatives that can interview him. All right, none of this is ever going to happen. We know that. We now know, sadly, in America, we have a two-tier justice system. We don't have equal justice under the law, equal application of our laws. While the president is targeted in a totally off-the-rails witch hunt, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, all these other deep state actors have never been charged with a crime, despite mountains of evidence that we have. For example, despite her total exoneration from the FBI, our friend, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, who will join us tonight, he has revealed multiple serious crimes that Hillary Clinton should be charged with, starting with 18 U.S.C. 793, mishandling, destroying classified documents, 18 U.S.C. 1505, the obstruction of justice. You remember BleachBit, deleted emails, busting up devices. No charges over the multiple crimes related to her campaign's shady practices surrounding the Steele dossier. Next up, let's look at James Comey. Well, he's not under any criminal investigation as of now. Shouldn't he at least face scrutiny over 18 U.S.C. 641, the theft of government property or records after he took his Trump memos outside of the FBI? What about 18 U.S.C. 1924, the mishandling of classified information? And remember, when James Comey lied to Congress about not signing off on Clinton's exoneration letter months before that interview took place, that's against the law. 18 U.S.C. 1621. And we got Andrew McCabe. House Republicans have now referred McCabe, as did the IG, for multiple crimes over lying to the FBI. And McCabe was fired for lying to the FBI. Let's see. Oh, General Flynn. Why hasn't he been charged with a crime in this case? Now, of course, don't hold your breath for an investigation into Loretta Lynch, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, or any of these other anti-Trump deep state actors. Now, what's behind this, sadly, in the United States of America today is a two-tiered system of justice. It is simple. The deep state hates who you chose to be your president. They are hell-bent on seeing Donald Trump delegitimized and hopefully on their side removed from office. Obviously, that means they don't want him to succeed. And that would mean even if Americans suffer in the process. Now, breaking this week, a group of wealthy secret donors, get this, they poured as much as $50 million into an investigation of President Trump after his 2016 election, based on the dossier. Now, this is in the House Intel Committee report. Get this. These top secret anti-Trump donors even utilized the services of Christopher Steele, the foreign national, the author of the dirty dossier that we now know was filled with Russian lies. Now, without a doubt, this deep state is conducting a full-scale political attempt to take down this president. And perhaps the most pathetic deep state actor of all, James Comey, well, the guy that refused to come on this show, I offered him 4 hours of airtime. He's continuing his anti-Trump book tour, and he's actually claiming that Trump's criticism of the deep state is dangerous for the country. How dare he? How dare he be honest? No president has faced this before. Now, Comey also took some time to fantasize about what if the deep state's choice, his choice, when in fact he exonerated Hillary Clinton when he knew she committed crimes and wrote the exoneration before investigation. But he's thinking, but what if Hillary had actually won? Take a look.
What would your life be like if she'd won?
I also don't know the answer to that. I think I would still be the FBI director. And the reason I say that is, someone asked me to compare the two, and it's too hard for me to compare the two, except Secretary Clinton is someone deeply enmeshed in the rule of law, respect for institutions, a lawyer. And so given that background, I'm reasonably confident that even though she was unhappy with decisions the FBI had made, she would not fire the FBI director as a result. But look, again, I don't know that for sure.
No, I don't even think she would have kept you around. Now, let's turn to another anti-Trump actor, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Now, the Freedom Caucus chairman, Mark Meadows, who's been on this show a lot, along with several other House Republicans, they have drafted articles of impeachment against Rosenstein over the extremely slow release or just flat-out obstruction regarding subpoenaed documents related to the Clinton email investigation and, of course, the dossier and FISA abuse and the Russia investigation. Now, today, Rosenstein fired back, trashing Congress. Congress has a constitutional duty and authority of oversight, Mr. Rosenstein. I would think you read that in your Constitution. Take a look.
They can't even resist leaking their own drafts.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
I saw that draft. I mean, I don't know who wrote it. There have been people who have been making threats privately and publicly against me for quite some time. And I think they should understand by now the Department of Justice is not going to be extorted. We're going to do what's required by the rule of law, and any kind of threats that anybody makes are not going to affect the way we do our job.
And Congress is going to do their constitutional job and demand you hand over the documents they have subpoenaed a long time ago. Congressman Meadows responding on Twitter, writing, if he believes being asked to do his job is extortion, then Rod Rosenstein should step aside and allow us to find a new deputy attorney general, preferably one who is interested in transparency. And I'll add also the law. Now, also breaking tonight, Chairman Bob Goodlatte, Chairman Gowdy, they are requesting more information from the Justice Department surrounding fired FBI Director Comey's friend, Daniel Richman. He's the guy who used his special designation in the FBI to leak information to the press, which, of course, we know Comey wanted. Is Rosenstein going to cooperate on this one? I'm not holding my breath. Now, next up, we have yet even more examples to bring you from the abusively biased press in this country and their age-old tactic called bias by omission. And according to a report from Newsbusters tonight on Monday, well, network news broadcasts, ABC, CBS, NBC, guess what? They completely failed to mention South Korean's President Moon suggested Donald Trump should win the Nobel Peace Prize. They never mentioned it. In fact, according to Newsbusters, the only mention of a Nobel Peace Prize was used by ABC and NBC to mock Trump supporters who started chanting in Michigan, Nobel, Nobel, during his rally over the weekend. And while the media is not ignoring Trump's serious progress on the world stage, which they always do, they're mourning the tragic plight of the caravan of migrants at our southern border that want to enter this country illegally, that don't respect our sovereignty. Take a look.
Crisis at the border. A caravan with more than 100 migrants seeking asylum arriving at the U.S. border with Mexico, but told there's no room.
And this is literally the end of the road for these migrants. You can see them camped out here by the dozens against the morning chill. They are literally sleeping up against the border terminal.
Border showdown. The standoff escalates over that caravan of migrants from Central America. Denounced by the president, they're now at the U.S. border. Will they be turned away?
This a caravan of Central American migrants traveling for more than a month is at the U.S.-Mexico border trying to cross. U.S. officials are trying to keep the group of nearly 200 people out. They want asylum, but have not been allowed to start the application process.
Now, what the media is failing to emphasize is the Department of Justice has filed criminal illegal entry charges to 11 members of this caravan, including one felony charge to a person who was previously deported. Now, many of these migrants scaled the border fence in California, look at that, after making their way from Central America unabated through Mexico. Mexico that routinely throws people out or throws them in prison if they enter illegally from El Salvador, Nicaragua, or Central America. These images you're watching, the wall climbing, the attempt to illegally cross the border, is a clear and obvious indication of how many of these migrants value our laws, respect our sovereignty. And what's worse, Mexico's total inaction. It shows what kind of so-called ally we're dealing with south of the border.